Now it's my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, JoLyn Zamora, and as she's coming up here, I just have to say, it's amazing how life's paths intersect at different phases in our life. I first knew JoLyn. You can come up here. She was my boss in one of my first nursing jobs, and I probably drove her crazy. And it's fascinating because in that position, working as a home care nurse, that's been my first experience helping other families who've lost their babies. I've held other babies in my arms. And even as a nurse with that experience, it doesn't prepare you for your own. And so it wasn't too long after Alana died that JoLyn reached out to me, and she'll share her story, and we were reconnected through our shared grief. And so it's an honor to invite her up here and to hear her share her story as a grandma who is grieving.
Well, Rose, I was fine until you went, so I am not guaranteeing you that I can get through this without crying. So please forgive me in advance. Kim, thank you for inviting me to be a guest speaker here. I appreciate it. I just want you to know that my husband and the parking instructor said, are you am I going to be on a hidden camera? Because there's people dressed really nice and we look like this. So she gave us the task and we came in full-heartedly. So thank you for that. And I want to thank everyone else for being here as well. It takes courage to show up for conversations like this. Conversations about love, loss, and the complicated places where those two things meet. Today, I want to talk to you about a kind of grief that often lives in the shadows. A grief that is deep but quiet, heavy but rarely acknowledged, and that is the grief of a grandparent who lost a grandchild. It is grief that moves in two directions at once, grieving the loss of a grandchild while also watching your own child break in front of you. It's a grief that asks you to hold two generations in your heart at the same time. When a grandchild dies, the world often focuses on the parent, and rightfully so. Their loss is unimaginable. But what many people don't see is the grief behind them. The grandparent who loved that child deeply. The grandparent who dreamed of birthdays, holidays, graduations, and other moments that now will never come. And then later on top of that, heartbreak is something uniquely painful. Watching your own child suffer the greatest loss a parent can face. You want to take their pain away. You want to trade places. You want to fix something that cannot be fixed. And that helplessness becomes its own kind of grief. So I want to share a personal story with you because grief becomes a little less heavy when it's spoken out loud. This is Houston Patrick Hine, born to eternal life on May 15th, 2020. A day forever carved in my heart. My oldest daughter, Sam, had a healthy pregnancy. Each appointment brought reassurance, a strong heartbeat, a stubborn little boy who always hid his face behind either his hands or his feet during every single ultrasound. We were thrilled to be welcoming a baby boy. After raising two girls, I was excited for all new experiences that we had ahead, and my husband was over the moon, imagining a little partner to roughhouse with and teach all the things he never got to share with our daughters. Sam and her husband, Nick, went into the hospital on May 12th, right in the middle of COVID restrictions. Only dads or one other person were allowed in the hospital at that time. Labor was slow, but we stayed connected through texts, FaceTime, and Facebook posts, waiting for updates, hoping, imagining the moment we would finally meet Houston. By the night of the 13th, I gently encouraged Sam to ask about a C-section. Just 30 minutes later, we got a text from Nick that she was pushing. I went to bed expecting the next message to be the one every grandmother waits for. He's here. Instead, the phone rang. Nick's voice was panicked. He said they had whisked Sam away, and she was screaming in a way that he had never heard before. He was scared, and then he hung up. Moments later came a second call, telling us to come to the hospital immediately. I can still hear those words today. I knew something was terribly wrong. I knew something was happening, but I did not know what it was. I didn't know if it was my daughter, if it was the baby, or if it was both. The 5-minute drive felt like hours. Security met us at the emergency door entrance, something no family ever wants to see. As a nurse, I understood what that meant, even as my heart begged me not to believe it. We were taken to a room where Nick sat alone, shattered. During a vacuum-assisted delivery, Houston's heart rate dropped. It recovered once, but not the second time. Sam was rushed for an emergency C-section because he was in distress. Despite every effort to save him, our sweet Houston didn't make it. That experience has changed me. It changed the way I understand grief, love, and the strength it takes to keep showing up for the people that you love. So, even in the midst of loss, life continues to grow around us. These are my grandchildren today, each one a reminder that love keeps finding its way back into our lives. These are Houston's 2 brothers, Wesley and Brixton. Wesley's middle name is Houston to carry on Houston's legacy, and Brixton's middle name is Andrew after my husband. So this was her 3 boys she had, and just this December, the day after Christmas, we welcomed Haven Joanne, our first granddaughter, to the mix. Grandparents often step into the role of the steady one, the helper, the organizer, the one who keeps things moving. You might be the one who answers the phone calls, the one who brings meals, the one who watches the other children, the one who holds the family together when everything feels like it's falling apart. And because of that, your grief can become invisible. Many grandparents tell me, I didn't feel like I had the right to grieve. My child's pain was bigger. But grief isn't a competition. There is room for every heart that loved that child. There's a constant tension grandparents carry. How do I support my child in their darkest moments while also trying to tend to my own shattered heart? You may feel torn between being strong and being honest. You may fear saying the wrong thing. You may feel pressure to hold yourself together so your child doesn't fall apart. And yet, even in that tension, there is a profound love. A love that stretches across generations. A love that keeps showing up, even when you're exhausted. A love that whispers, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. Grandparents need what every grieving heart needs. You need permission to grieve openly, space to talk about your grandchild, acknowledgement that the loss is real and deep, support from others who understand, moments of rest between being strong. You deserve to have your grandchild's name spoken. You deserve to have your memories honored. You deserve to have your grief recognized. Your love for that child was real, and your loss was real too. Grandparents are often the quiet strength in a family. You carry the wisdom, history, and love that spans decades. You show up with presence. You show up with steadiness. You show up with a heart that has already lived a full life and still choose love. Even in grief, you continue to love fiercely, and that love becomes a legacy. Your grandchild's life mattered. Your grandchild continues in stories through you. These little faces remind me every day that grief and joy can live side by side. They are part of the legacy of the grandchild I lost, because that loss has changed the way I love them all. To every grandparent who has lost a grandchild, I want you to hear this clearly. Your grief is real. Your love is powerful. And the way you continue to show up for your child, for your family, for yourself is extraordinary. You carry 2 generations in your heart, and that is a heavy, sacred, beautiful thing. May you always know that grief deserves space. Your love deserves recognition, and your story deserves to be told. As I close today, I want to leave you with this reminder. Love continues. It changes shape, but it never disappears. We celebrate Houston's birthday every year, just like Kim and Corey do. We take time to thank him for bringing all the wonderful things he did in our lives. For the short time that we were able to hold him, for him to be part of our life, he continues on in our legacy. Thank you all for allowing me to share my story and my journey with you. God bless.